It's that new pair of shoes you just had to have, or the Venti latte necessary to survive this afternoon. Then the cupcakes, of course, for the school's bake sale. And don't forget the new smartphone to replace your cracked version. Now, all these things bring me to the number one question you need to ask to get real about your money. Are you able to separate the wants from the needs? Money guru Patrice Washington is back with her two-step plan to help you separate just that, the wants from the needs. Why is that so essential for financial success?
You know, actually, separating wants from needs is one of the most important parts of financial success, but it goes overlooked because people think that it's simple to do. The reality is a lot of us disguise some wants in the midst of our needs, and when we're trying to budget, we miscategorize.
So let's get to the first step. It's the 50-30-20 rule to separate emotions from money. Explain why this is so critical.
It's so critical because you get to see really what you're doing with your money. So 50% of your money should technically be going towards your needs, 30% towards the wants, and 20% towards savings. If that's out of balance, then you have a problem.
It's a lot for savings. Can people do that, 20%?
It's a good place to aim. If you have to start somewhere, right? So if you have to start at 5 and work your way up, that's fine, but it's definitely what you want to aim for.
Do you save 20% of your money?
I save more, actually.
You do? Mm-hmm. Show off. So Catherine wrote me on Facebook asking for help breaking down her budget. So Catherine, join me if you don't mind. How are you?
Hello. Hi, Dr.
I love calling in folks who so innocently post on Facebook, but that's how we get our guests.
Absolutely.
So how many times a week do you go shopping?
Twice.
Twice. And do you ever feel like you're buying extra food, things you didn't have to buy?
Oh, sure, of course. I go in for 10 items and I wind up with 20. Maybe 100. No, I'm trying to undervise it, but a lot. I buy a lot more than
You planned.
Absolutely.
All right, so I want you to pay close attention, you and everybody else at home. I'm going to show you how to do this. Just ask the key question, want from needs. Come on back. All right, so the first, stay with us. What the heck? Come over here. Yeah. Okay, so these are the needs. All right? Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, please walk us through, because this is really critical. It seems so obvious, right? Why is it the number one most important question to ask? You'll figure this out in a second. Go ahead, Patrice.
So our needs are those basic things that we need to survive, right? So there's food and shelter, your clothing, of course, transportation, insurance, and things like childcare.
You don't have a choice about these things, right? Now, let's move over here to the place we get into trouble. These are the wants.
These are the wants. This is where we typically get out of hand, and that goes beyond the 30% that we talked about. And your wants include things like eating out, entertainment, travel, gifts, morning coffee. That's a big one. And the fun clothes. So not what I need to go to work, but my party clothes on Saturday night.
Are you clear on the difference here?
Absolutely.
All right, you can have a seat in the audience then, because I want to go through one last little bit. This 20% budget fight that we're having, right? The 20% budget fight around savings. And is it really possible to get 20%? I actually think it's achievable. It seems like it's not, but if you think about it, it is these issues.
Right, absolutely. And if you actually go through the first section and cut some things down, then you can now contribute it to this section, actually. But your retirement savings, your emergency fund, and even paying over and beyond the minimum payment on any debt that you have, any credit cards, student loans, that actually counts as a part of your 20%.
All right, let's do a little workshopping with the audience here.
Okay.
It's the final step, but it's an important one. We want you to list 3 ways, just 3 ways, 3 ways that you think your purchase will benefit your life. Pick any purchase you're thinking of making right now. Let me see some hands. Oh, you sat in the front row. Where's the there? And next to the mic, it's perfect. So, what's your name?
Asia.
Asia.
Yes.
So Asia, explain to us what you want to buy, and then just do the exercise. I'll let Patrice push you a little bit on this.
All right. Well, I would like to buy pretty much everything. I like to shop as well. I love clothes. But anyway, if I would have to buy anything, it would have to be a new cell phone.
A cell phone?
Yes.
Patrice.
So it would have to be a new cell phone?
Yes, mine is very old.
Okay, so is that a want to you or a need?
I would say a little bit of both, if that makes sense.
Okay.
My phone is old. It has a crack in it. It's not a necessity, but I want a new phone because it's old and I want a prettier phone.
So I actually want you to give me 3 very specific ways that this will benefit your life if you got a new cell phone today.
Well, it would be faster. Also, it would be prettier, so that would make me happier. And the camera also would be better, and I love to take pictures, which would also make me happier.
Okay, so did anyone hear a need in any of that, right? So prettier, maybe faster.
I need to
don't
be
know.
happy though.
You need to be happy, but does your happiness based on a new cell phone? No, there's other ways that you can find happiness, I'm sure. And that's the point, you guys. A lot of people think that I need this. This is something that I have to have. But once they really start to say it out loud, which is why I love that exercise, you heard for yourself, because you chuckled while saying it, and we all heard that that's not really a necessity. And sometimes we make our decisions impulsively based on what we feel like we need, and really it's a want. And you can have it if you plan for it and save for it.
That's what I plan on doing. That's
Okay.
why I still have the old phone.
I was convinced, Asia, by the way.
Thank you.
I love your advice. Thank you very much. You can find more of Patrice's money advice in her new book, Real Money Answers. We'll be right back. We're back with Nicole Lapin, and she's tackling your most burning money questions that you've been too afraid to ask, at least until now. So who's got questions? How convenient. Go, take it away.
How are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Take it away.
I just want to know what's the right way for me to negotiate a raise with my boss without her saying no?
That is an
It's a
awesome
woman.
question. And it's not a sorority if it's a woman. She's not going to be easier on you just because she's a woman. 7% of women negotiate their salary. 57% of men negotiate their salary. So when you're going in to speak with your boss, remember that salary isn't the only form of compensation. Think about the overall compensation package. So maybe if you're a mom, you ask for a day working from home. You ask for a day to leave early. You ask for a more robust healthcare package. You ask for a free parking pass. Sometimes that stuff is more valuable than a bump in base salary.
Thank you.
Yeah, that way you'll get something out of it, one way or the other. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Take it away.
Hi. Is that a deal breaker in a relationship?
Absolutely. I have spoken to so many men and women who start relationships and see that their partner, their potential partner, has a boatload of debt. They're like, listen, I have my financial life together, I'm out. Here's the thing, when we're in the dating world, we have more superficial breakers than money. Hair color, height, weight. I mean, debt should be one of them.
Thank you.
Why wouldn't it be a deal breaker? It would be a problem for me.
It would be a problem for me too, yeah.
Because you're taking on that debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that affects your life.
You were speaking to us earlier. Is that a problem for you?
I don't want anyone.
What's it?
You don't want more debt than
I don't
you
want
already
more
have.
debt than I already have.
That's right.
Sorry. It's a deal
Amen.
breaker.
You know, this country was created in the belief that we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Which happiness is health to me.
Right.
You can't do those things if you don't have money on your side. It's one of the biggest challenges we have in America.
Right.
And I don't think you can compromise that at all. I think it has to be a deal breaker in a relationship. One of the two parties has got to get that part right. You know, I add and subtract otherwise, but the total has to still be in a place where you're happy and healthy.
I agree.
And money is one of the #1 causes of divorce. Not talking about it.
Okay. One last question. Go ahead.
If I can't pay off my bills, how can I ask for help?
You know, asking for help is nothing to be bashful about. There is no shame in asking for help. So there are a couple of places that you can look, but you want to look for a reputable organization. The National Foundation for Credit Counseling is one you can start with. There are some sketchy ones, so you don't want to get yourself in more problems than you already have, but you should definitely look for help, and they can help you set up a timetable to set up your financial life.
Nicole, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got good news for you. Everyone in today's audience is going home with Nicole's book. And it is called Rich and Rhymes with Itch, because I can't say the other part. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.